Welcome back. Actually, today we will be talking, of course, about topics all related to the holy months of Ramadan, to also the concepts of Islam. And one of the important concepts of Islam is tolerance. And Al-Azhar Observatory for Combating Extremism, it aims at mainly draining the extremist and terrorist thoughts and to be able to eliminate the Islamophobia and the misconceptions about Islam in the world, and how Islam is about coexistence of the different faiths based on mutual respect. And today I'm happy to have with me Dr. Osama Ibrahim as well as Dr. Ahmed Sobhy, and they are members of Al-Azhar Observatory for Combating Extremism. Welcome with us.
Welcome.
Let me start first before talking, of course, about the main subject, combating extremism and terrorism as well. I need to know the role of Al-Azhar during the holy month of Ramadan, because many people use this month in a wrong way. We see people on the street are very nervous. They start to make very bad habits and gives misconception about this important and holy month. So how do you teach the students here about the importance of Ramadan?
Yeah, in the beginning, I want to welcome you and thank you so much for being with you today. And I want to thank you and all of the crew for being with you today. You know, the month of Ramadan is a season. And if someone is, for example, is a football player, he always make a training for what he do before the match. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this month as a season to have a lot of reward and a lot of hasanat in this month, not any like other month. The Prophet ﷺ always, Ibn Abbas said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make preference for days over days, and make preference for years over years, and make preference for nights over nights, and make preference for months over months. So the month of Ramadan is the month of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as you said, some people have a lot of bad habit, or maybe we all do mistakes. In this month, it's your time to quit this habit, and also it's your time to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also to have a lot of hasanat, because in this month, the one reward is maybe double and triple. You know, in other days it can be like you do one reward or one hasana, you take one. But in this month, if you do a good stuff, for example, some people go to Umrah in this month. So in the Umrah in this month is like a pilgrimage. In other days, some people, like all of us, fasting because it's obligatory. But fasting also, you will take a lot of reward for this fasting. Also, some people make like a tarawih, which is after night prayer. And this is super obligatory. They took hasanat. Also, people pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They quit, and some people, it's their, for example, smoke cigarettes. And this time, they must quit it because it's obligatory to fast. And then they quit their habits by fasting, and they can continue after Ramadan also. About Al-Azhar and the rule of Al-Azhar of the holy month of Ramadan, we have, we always spreading the tolerance and the peace in the world. And also by Al-Azhar, by the old outlet of Al-Azhar and all of the work of Al-Azhar, we spreading this tolerance, especially in Ramadan, because tolerance in Ramadan, if for example someone say bad things to you, you said to him, Allahumma inni sa'im, I am fasting, so I will not do anything for you. Even if, for example, you are in the outside in the transportation and someone abuse you, for example, or say bad stuff, or make anything for you, you will say, oh, Allahumma inni sa'im, I cannot say anything for you. So this is, in this time, you can also quit if you, in the other days, you can replay with a bad thing. In these days, you cannot say anything because you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you the full reward for fasting. So about Al-Azhar International Observatory for Combating Terrorism, I'm honored, me and Ahmed Sobhy, to be a member of Al-Azhar International Observatory for Combating Extremism. Let me just tell you a little bit about Al-Azhar International Observatory for Combating Extremism. In Al-Azhar International Observatory for Combating Extremism, we are trying, as you can see from the name, we are trying to combat extremism and also spread tolerance. Because if I am extremist, for me, I don't believe in tolerance. if I'm extremist, for example, if I'm extreme, I don't believe in any tolerance. But the people who are shedding the blood and doing all of this wrong thing, they need us as Al-Azhar, which is a rule of Al-Azhar, to give them the replay of what they are doing. Is this right or wrong? I'm talking about the followers of them or other people. So in Al-Azhar International Observatory, every day we are tracing all of their news for sure, and they're also outline like the thing that they are doing in the magazines, in the newspapers, anything, and then we are trying to replay with this misconception about what they are talking about, and we replay it in the authenticity of Islam, authenticity from the Quran, from the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And to be honest with you, they are so good in put the honey in poison. Yeah, they can talk very nicely thing in the beginning, very nicely thing in the end, but in the middle they just give you a line. This is the whole poison in it. And they want you to believe as a follower in this, then you will follow them. And they always, for example, like one of the funny things that I saw for them, they talking about like the cuisine and what is the woman should do in the cuisine and what is the meals it should do, which is something related to them. And in the beginning they said, okay, you must do this, and then in the middle they talk about not a good thing, but in the middle. So what we are trying to do is, we took all of these lines out of the, in the context, in the right context, and then we replay them by the Quran and Sunnah, as I said. Also, in Al-Azhar International Observatory, we are not just talking because there, I hope you can come one day to visit us in Al-Azhar Observatory, you will see that all of our researchers there, they have computers and also trying to refute or talking or make a replay online. But some people might say, okay, you are doing everything online. So we said, okay, yes, we are doing online because it's really important. It's a language of this era. Online, you know now Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and all of the other media thing. We are trying to spread our messages in this with the language of this technology, but also we make outreaching campaign. We are trying to go outside and to tell people what we're already doing. And I think also Dr. Ahmed Sobhy can talk more about the outreaching campaign that we are doing, because he's know this also.
So, Dr. Ahmed, would you like to tell us more about the outreaching campaigns that Dr. Ibrahim mentioned?
First of beginning, I would like to welcome you here in Al-Azhar Center, and also for the crew, all the crew, and say happy Ramadan for all of you and the viewer. Really, in Azhar Observatory, we focus on observe, then analyze, then refute. We have the 3 stages, but as Dr. Osama says, we have to reach people on ground. That's why we have campaigns online and offline. And for the campaigns in online, it spread out all the social media. And there is a special campaign for this month, Ramadan, between Azhar Observatory and the Global Fatwa Center, which trying to say to people, don't waste your time, don't waste your food, don't waste your ability to do good for all people. And for the offline campaigns, we trying to reach people on schools, on universities, on clubs, on centers, to make lectures for these youth how to avoid extremism, how they can reply for themselves, to prove for themselves that these are wrong. These thoughts, ideologies are very wrong and far away from the moderate Islam. And I think about last week or 2 weeks ago, we held a conference here also for youth to listen and talk. It joined about 16 universities here in Al-Azhar, and all the students in these universities joined this organized freely talk. I can say that it was a freely talk that was between youth and the religious institutions. They have to say what they have in their minds, in their hearts, and that's our duty to reply. and to know these thoughts in their minds and their hearts, and to focus on. And these recommendations, we have recommendations after this conference, which the mainly to hold this conference every 6 months, because really we were away from youth for a long time, and we have to engage with them in interfaith dialogue, and to be aware that these people, these youth, if there is nothing do with them to the ideologies of the extremism or thoughts, they will go for those people who send them messages on Facebook and Twitter and all social media. And if we really want these people to be in the moderate Islam, we have to reach them in the offline and online, both of them.
Okay. When we talk about Islam, it is especially in front of the Europeans and people who live outside of the Arab world, the foreigners. When we talk about Islam, the first thing it pops to their mind is fighting extremism and terrorism. So why we are busy with explaining, no, we are not terrorists, we have to fight extremism, and we are not busy with spreading the good sides of Islam?
Okay, it's a very good question, but the thing is always we have the people connect between terrorism and Islam, and this is the problem. The problem is not with with this action, because all people say this is not right. But the problem is someone come and said, okay, this is because you are Muslim, so it is all of you Muslim are like these terrorists. Maybe there are some people practice this terrorism and some people don't. Some people believe in this, believe that terrorism is something in Islam. And the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, told you, they sometimes told you this. The Quran and the Sunnah told you to be terrorist. This is the problem. That's why we are busy to tell people, no, it's not what you think, what you are thinking is right, because, as I said, it's 1, 2, 3, or with evidence. Also, the thing is, some people don't just take the thing out of context. For example, give you an event happening in the era of the Prophet, peace be upon him, or one of the scholars talk something about something, and then said, okay, look, Islam said this, and this is in your book, in this book or that book, and then they want to convince you that Islam is telling this, but they forget that Islam, we don't believe in, the people are not infallible. People are always do mistakes. If I'm a big scholar, I can also do mistakes. My book can have a mistake. If I am a scholar and I have a book, I written a book, this not mean that I am an evidence for Islam itself. Islam, the evidence of Islam comes from Quran and the Sunnah only. And the example of tolerance, the Prophet, peace be upon him. Do you remember the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Osama ibn Zayd was in a battle, in a battlefield, and then was one person of not Muslim, and and he said, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah," just to fear that the Osama will kill him. And Osama, he listened to the shahada testimony, and then he killed him. The Prophet was so nervous, Why you do this, Osama? Osama was one of the, very close to the Prophet, peace be upon him. Al-Hib ibn al-Hib, like he's very close because his father also, he's very close to the Prophet. He was so nervous with the Prophet ﷺ. He said, why ya Osama, you kill him? قتلته بعد أن قالها, you killed him after he said the shahada, after his testimony, he said, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. How you kill him? He said, oh Prophet, he just said it out of fear of my sword. So the Prophet ﷺ in this time, even if he feared of your sword, and we are in a battlefield, you can imagine, you are in a battlefield, you are not in any other place. No, in a battlefield, and the killing, this is the time of killing. We are in a battlefield. So the Prophet ﷺ was nervous because the Prophet ﷺ don't want to shed a light. And if you look even to the history of the Muslims, you find even in Fath Mecca, for example, conquer of Mecca. The Prophet ﷺ, the people in that time, they said, Prophet, come to take revenge of us, because they gave him a lot of hard time, right? Quraysh gave him a lot of hardship, and give his follower a lot of hardship. But even at that time, the Prophet, peace be upon him, When he go there, he said to them, "ما تظنون أني فاعل بكم?" What do you think that I will do with you with you? They thought in that time that, okay, he will kill all of us, because before the Prophet ﷺ also killed people who are like in Banu Qurayza, for example, when they betray the Prophet, peace be upon him, or betrayed Muslims. But in that time, the Prophet ﷺ leave all of the people in that.
No, but they knew also that he is from a good family and he's a good person, and they said, "Akhin Karim ibn Akhin
Yes,
Karim."
right.
So
But
they knew that he's not going to do anything.
Right, but even like, because he's like a winner, and he can do anything he can do, right? Because he's a winner. He can, anything that he will make a verdict, the people will accept this. But the Prophet ﷺ, because he believed in tolerance, he believed that it's not the matter to shed a light, or to shed blood, like shed the blood, or to make any bad thing to them. No, he left all of them, and many of them afterward they become Muslim because of this, because they saw that this tolerance with their own eye, not just words. And it's very important also for Muslim outside and inside to show people with their action, not just talking. Because we always talking, yeah, we are talking. Talking is important, right? It's the first step for doing action. But also action is more convincing than talking. Yeah.
Doctor, now speaking about the misconceptions and actually correcting the misconceptions, one of the major misconceptions is the concept of jihad. So how can we correct that concept? And what is the proper corrections when you're asked about jihad in Islam? What do you say?
Yeah, the word of jihad is in, we cannot say this is not a part of our religion. Jihad is a part of our religion. But also, you make jihad for who? And when you will make jihad, and like for who you will make jihad. I mean, for example, if I'm an American Muslim, I live in America and I have a citizenship in America, and then I will say, okay, I will make jihad for people there. How this will be jihad, because you are with the innocent people, no one do any harm for you, no one even like have a battle with you, no one do anything. You are a citizen. You have the all rights. So in this time, some of the ISIS people or ISIS group go and then kill people and say, oh, we want to just say to make the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the jihad, and Allah will give us a lot of reward because of this. But is this a real jihad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us to do? Jihad, when for example I am here in Egypt and then someone conquers us, can I just leave my home and they said, okay, take my home, no problem? No. In this time, I will make jihad, because the jihad in this time is obligatory for me, because he want to take my property, my land. I will not leave, as we do, for example, in our history also.
And the concept of jihad actually is bigger than that, because we have also of the self, to be good.
Right.
Jihad in nafs.
Jihad in nafs, right.
Of the self itself.
Yeah. Jihad in nafs.
And that's one of the biggest actually.
Right.
Jihads.
Yeah, and I mean, if again, if I am a good example to people, the people will, this is jihad al-nafs. So I'm doing jihad nafs with me. I want to be a good, I am not for example, cheating people. I am not a bad example of my religion, especially if I am in a place that a lot of majority of people don't understand what is my religion is and have a misconception about my religion. When I am good with myself, I'm not a liar. I am a trustworthy. I'm if I say anything, I'm saying in a truth. If I'm a trader, for example, I trade with them with the good. I don't say any bad stuff to them, even if someone, for example, hurted me, because this happens sometimes. If I'm in a mall in America or a mall in Europe, and then someone say, okay, here someone is a terrorist or something. If I'm smiling to him, I'm just still talking to him in a nice way. The people will gradually, one day by one day, with this action, will say, no, I'm wrong. And I think this happened a lot in the West, when they saw another Muslim and they saw how to deal with, they said, sorry, I really feel sorry that I thought about Islam in this way. And this happened. You heard these questions.
And also that's why the Prophet ﷺ said in one of his battles, we returned from the minor jihad to the major jihad, which is the jihad in-nafs.
Right.
Because it's more difficult for oneself to correct himself continuously. And back to your question, really we have to be parallel between the media and also to convince people that with the moderate Islam and spreading the goodness in our Islam. because you're in your platform here in Nile TV, you let our voice reach the youth and people to give them the right thoughts and ideology. And there is many other platforms they go through, and also the media, the Western media, focuses on ISIS. That's why many people in West convinced that ISIS is Islam, and that's not true, because they just see ISIS, Qaeda, Boko Haram. That's happened. That's happened. That's happened. Where is the moderate Muslims in the Western media? But if our moderate Islam and Azhar voice reach these people, I think this will make very big difference. And also, like Dr. Osama says, the correctness of this ideology is very important for here in Arab world and the other world, the Eastern world and the Western world. And spreading goodness into these people after or parallel with correctness for the ideology which come from the Qaeda and extremistic group is very important in my opinion also.
Okay, Dr. Osama and Dr. Ahmed, members of the Al-Azhar Observatory for Combating Extremism, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome once again to Nile.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, doctors. And now we will be going to a quick break, but we'll be back for more on Nile Cruise as we're celebrating the holy months of Ramadan from Al-Azhar Conference Center.